Hi there, welcome to Velo Wyckoff technical analysis session. We are seeing a raw chart and you know what it means if you're not first time here. So basically I'll build out the Velo on the Velo chart from scratch with all the Wyckoff tags and key levels, so it would take a bit longer, but hey, let's explore what's happening with Velo. Here we'll start with the weekly chart as usual. What I'm going to do is to bring across some tags and key level lines. So quickly, instead of this, what I want to check was USD. Yep, I just want to go back to the crypto.com. So here it's at decimal point, so best is to find another one that's similar. So that's Casper, that looks good. We've got some pretty good lines over here and at similar price scale, so I don't have to make as much or press the delete key that many times. So I've got the lines over here, and then the stages of accumulation: selling climax, automatic rally, test, sign of strength, and also backup and last point of support. Also a second test over here, that's good. Distribution cycle, automatic reaction, buying climax, and last point of supply, preliminary supply, second test. Okay, all good. We don't have a sign of weakness, so let's copy that as well. Yep, I think that's fine. Let's go back to Velo. Okay, so let's put in all these over here and see what it looks like. I want them to get a little bit more to the right hand side. Yep, that's about right. And let's start with moving the tags. They are all over the place now. So I'll move it here, I'll move it here, the selling climax here, sign of strength right there, and backup last point of supply, support, that's not supply. Second test, well, it should go here actually. That test probably go somewhere here, but I'll leave that for now because I don't want to go that far. And then buying climax. This is the buying climax. That's a quick accumulation really. This one is a tricky one because when it went up, I would assume that's the backup and last point of support. And then we've got the PSY period and all the way to the buying climax. That's a very deep automatic reaction, to be honest, if it really is. And we've got, I'll say that's a second test. The LPSY probably go here. Sign of weakness right there. And eventually that's the up thrust. Yeah, a bit tricky for this chart, but that's how I'm gonna put it. That's AR2 in my term, so same automatic reaction but corresponding to the up thrust. Then eventually here is more like a preliminary support to me. That kind of period. And then eventually we have these, and we're at this stage where the price came down from the sign of strength, and well, I haven't put in the key levels yet, so let's see whether it's because it hits a key level and that's why it rebounded from over there. What I'll do is to quickly unlock all these so we can easily move them around. This level, yeah, it's probably right. So I just want to take a couple of points as reference. So this red candle wick that touches this level, these two candles as well, and also these candles. So I've got basically more than 4 points, that I usually use. I just want to extend the line more to the left. Yep, that's about right. Cutting through these points as well, so I know I've got more than enough reference points for setting this red key support level at 0.00700. One extra. Okay. Then next, the orange key level. So this one probably come to somewhere around here, and let's extend to 10. Yeah, that sounds good, or looks good. We've got 2 candles over here and another 4 over here, plus another bunch, probably 5 to 6, and the selling climax at this point, the wicks over here. So that's good enough for me as the key level, 0.00 line. We're way above that. So let's keep adjusting. Don't let it stop. This looks alright. We've got 2 wicks over here, 2 candles, 3 candles over here basically, and then another 2, another 3. Yep, that's more than enough. Way more than enough. And that's 0.011. I don't have to extend this because that's not relevant. Just need to lock it. And then we have got to the green. I would say, I'm just trying to see, because here we see a lot of candles got rejected over here, and then likewise the support they found at this point and this exchange over here. So it looks right that this is key level, so that's 0.016, and that's exactly where the rebound happened. So we found support at this point last week, and well, actually the week before as well, in late August, and this week that's where the price started to climb from this level. Hey, price target for cycle top. Thanks for your question, but that's not something I usually do. I don't guess the top and bottom. So what I do usually is to ride the wave. So when I know it's getting into the distribution cycle, I just keep pushing my stop loss upwards until a point where the retracement happen. Then it automatically help me take my profit. So I try not to do that because that will skew our thinking or decision, because if we fixate on a certain point, let's say if I'm going to tell you it's going to be the same as the last buying climax back in May 2024 or the upthrust in December, our brain basically would anchor towards that number, thinking, hey, it will still go there, it will still go there. But the reality is we have to analyze what's happening along the way, instead of having a number in our head thinking it will reach that point. Hope that answered your question. So back to here, we are still setting these levels, and automatic rally ended here, and there are a couple of candles, 3 candles at least over here, those 5 and then 6 plus 7, 8, 9, so that's more than enough. Even though it's a narrow gap between 0.16 and this level, this is, maybe I have set it, I've typed the wrong number here. That's probably 0.13. I don't know how I see it at 0.16. That's actually the one. That's 0.15, 0.015. Yep, there it goes. And let's lock this as well. And then eventually the blue key level, this over here, there's only about 3-ish fall. Well, still enough. There are 2 over here, and then another 2, 3 over here, 2 over here, 3 over here. So that's, I would consider also a key level. That's 0.17. Yep. And finally, the purple key level. Yep, there are not enough lines, so we have to reuse later, but those are the crazy peaks that we're still far from. We hope they get to that level, but for now, let's focus at these levels where this one is 0.019. Analyze Sologenic someday soon. So I've posted a community post just a few days back, changing to the current schedule. So it's basically a roster combining some key coins plus trending coins or most viewed coins on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. So if Sologenic appear on the chart one day, I will absolutely pick it up and go through it. So that's how I pick what I cover. And now we have done with the weekly, we can go to work on the daily, right? So let's get in and take a look, and the key levels looks fine across this, and what we need is just to borrow something from another similar coin again. Let's get Doge. Here we've got preliminary support, selling climax, automatic rally, spring, sign of strength, backup last point of support, buying climax, automatic reaction, second test, last point of supply. I just want to get, or maybe I don't need that. Yep, sign of weakness, that's the one I want to get. Up first, we can do that later. Okay, we've got all the text, and let's go back to Velo. Crypto.com. Okay. Let's put in the text, break it up. Let's see what's happening over here. So we've got a mini peak compared to this giant peak over there. If we look at this right there, I would put the selling climax right there. Preliminary support there, automatic rally, a spring or second test, doesn't really matter because those are all tests of demand or like how feared people are. Basically the last period of shakeout. Sign of strengths, yeah, a couple of them, and even more tests, but let's group them together. Just test. Yeah, even this one. Tests. And eventually back up last point of support. If this is really a buying climax, that would be PSY over there, and this, no, here, automatic reaction right there. We've got a little bump up over here that maybe we can tag this as LPSY and another LPSY right there. Sign of weakness goes here and here, and LPSY. So at this point, it's difficult to tell whether it has entered accumulation or is just a low point of this distribution cycle, like somewhere it's still a sign of weakness here when it climbs to retest something else. So the way I would do is to go back to the weekly chart and check where it is heading. So if it's the late stage accumulation, I would go back, basically this over here if we look at here, it may exhibit certain behavior that leads to the next leg upwards, and as of this moment, I would think if it goes up like this and it did not have much gather consolidation, is a tough call, to be honest, calling this a selling climax. And this period may be back up last point of support, but who knows, if that may be the case. It can be a very quick accumulation, or basically an accumulation cycle at a very high level, and then that's where it climbs to the next distribution again. While there's no spring over here, say that can be a spring, so let's leave this over there. I'm not going to rebuild the whole thing over here, but you know that's a distribution cycle. So if this is where we are, turning this on, there's currently no squeeze happening while the price started to surge. In the weekly, that's not the case because there's a squeeze currently happening. You see this dark shade, there's vertical bars at the back, right? So the squeeze happened starting somewhere around mid-June, and we're still trading horizontal. So when the squeeze energy start to get released, we would see something similar to here. So you see this shade, this bar over here, right? Just to remember, not every squeeze will bring the price up. The squeeze can also push the price down. Just that we are at a level that seems to be at an accumulation. That's why the chance of it being swing to the upside is higher. So it seems like we're getting into a stage where it's similar to November last year. The price started to surge mid-November. We are a bit early this year. We're only September, beginning of September, and this has already started. But while it's in the squeeze, we don't know whether it will continue with some white candles upward. It can well be a horizontal trading for a few more weeks before the price actually starting to climb. Let me switch off this Bollinger Band current squeeze because we have confirmed it's happening right now. If it continues to trade sideways over here, that's a platform period for buying the backup and last point of support. That's very common before the price launch. So hopefully that's the case, and just do a final check over here. I don't want to draw this line, I want this instead. Let me swap this back. Okay, so volume, nothing in particular, maybe the silence before the stormy period. So if we go back to what happened back in 2024, during this period the volume was pretty low until the point we get to the backup last point of support. Then that's where the volume gets crazy. So now we are kind of near that period. We just need to see more volume compared to what we had in mid-July. Then that's probably a confirmation sign for the price to go swing higher. So I don't know when I'll next come back to cover Velo, because I'm now doing this roster for those trending or most viewed coins on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. So I'm going to add a few tags early. If it happens before our next session of Velo, it's fine when we come back and see the price climb to this level. Just to make one more tag over here. My assumption is this is probably 20% chance, while this is more 80%. By looking at the stage we are now in, this long bar over there this week, plus also the daily, where it seems it has entered this last stage where right before the price would climb. This whole volume bar may be the last change of hands between the whales and the small fishes, so it seems like it's getting very near to a rocket launch. So hopefully that's the case for Velo, and a rocket launch to the moon is near. But having said that, remember, what's our friend? Stop loss. Don't forget about it. Thanks for joining me this week. There's still a couple of sessions tomorrow, and then I'll take a pause for 2 days. That's the cycle.